Good morning, folks. How's it going? So, I'm just gonna do a little quick review and some tips on a certified 3500 generator, 3500 watt generator. Um, so, in Canada here we have a store called Canadian Tire, which is a bit like Harbor Freight, I imagine. And this is the Canadian Tire brand. Generator is actually made by Champion. Don't know if that's just the generator or the engine as well. I think the engine's a Predator clone. I'm not entirely positive on that. I'm kind of new to small engines. It's my first generator actually, so well, actually no, that's not true. I had a generator a long time ago, similar style, and it never really worked. I had it for a few months and got rid of it. So anyway, this is my first actual working and new generator. There are problems with it though. It does not like to start in the cold. So if you're buying this for actually using in Canada, you may or may want to, or may not want to reconsider that. Sorry, I'm just waking up, one of those videos. I already shot this and camera died and lost the video, so yay. But in any case, it's not great in cold weather for starting. Once it's started, it runs fairly well though. This one does, but this is actually my second one. And the first one only lasted about 30 minutes before it developed a serious problem. It seemed like the carb float had residue built up and causing issues, to be quite honest. It seemed like that somebody had used it, like bought it, used it, returned it, and they put it back on the shelf. So anyways, there was a major problem with that. Canadian Tire gave me a bit of a runaround trying to get my money back. Actually, I just wanted another generator that worked, but I also wanted the full tank of gas. And I got banned from the store over that. Anyways, it's a whole video on its own. So you'll notice a couple things here that if you've seen one of these before, you'll know they don't necessarily come with. What I did to make it easier for cold weather starting is add a little ether port here. And this is the cap. This and the white piece come from a kit, which is caps for lamps. If you build lamps, you can buy it at any home hardware and any sort of little hardware store, I guess, will probably have it. But this is the cap that goes on top of a lamp for those hollow posts. And then this is just a 1/4 inch air nozzle. And the threads happen to be the same. So I got lucky there. I plumbed it into the air line, like the EGR line. I know there's no valve, but there's the line there, the recirculation line. And and I used a Y fitting, so that way there's less chance of the ether making its way back into the crankcase. I also don't know if we'll be able to see this. Yeah, so I added a clear gas line, so you can actually see what's going on. And like an idiot, I forgot to turn the gas off, which would be kind of good because I'll show you how hard this is to start. I also added a oil pan here because it likes to dump its oil right onto the strut leg here, so this just diverts it. Like I said, it didn't want to start in the cold, and as a result the handle broke pretty quick from just pulling and pulling and pulling. It also did some damage to the unit as it slipped out of my hand. So anyways, I took the rest of the broken plastic and just replaced it with some heater hose. I think it's 3/8. I added some locks so that I can lock it to my E-track on the truck here. This stuff here. So that way it's nice and solid, right? I don't have to worry about tie downs, breaking, or anything like that. And somebody would have to actually bring a grinder or a big ass cutter to get that off. And then a little pouch for the 30 amp plug. So, I mean, it's not terrible. I find noise-wise it's actually fairly acceptable. My trailer windows are right there and the exhaust is pointed at it, and not an issue. A lot of the noise comes out of the actual running of the machine inside anyways. And so that transfers sorry, into the base, the box, and all that stuff, and makes a bit of a racket, but it's actually not that bad. So noise-wise, I mean, I would, you know, being a novice generator owner, I would put it at somewhere around a 7 or an 8. It's really not that bad. Running-wise, when it runs, like I said, I've had no problems with it. It seems to work really well. So I put that around, you know, an 8 or a 9 even on this one. But like I said, you could get unlucky and get one that doesn't run properly. So that I would take that with a grain of salt. Um, Hardware wise, like furniture wise, all the, like the handle that broke within the first few pulls, that doesn't work very well for me. Oh yeah, and the flap over here broke too. I mean, it was pretty cool. It was minus 30, but nonetheless, these are made for Canadians. So I don't know what you want. We don't need the generator on sunny days for the most part. Well, I don't anyways. I have solar I usually use. So anyways, the flap broke there pretty quick. So I mean, hardware wise, I would put it at a 4 or a 5. Be careful with your stuff, it'll break. This is a hertz, voltage, and engine runtime meter. And I mean, it's not even squared up on there. It's like permanently crooked. And this one doesn't operate the same as the other one did. So one of them was broken or not working. It's not consistently anyways. I don't know. It seems to work. I haven't put a timer next to it, so I don't know if the hour meter works properly, but seems to work. So that's pretty much it for the mods and how it runs. Now, to start this thing in the cold, it's not really cold right now. So what I tend to do, first, I'll try and avoid the ether. But you reach back, put your choke to closed, and then pull it back just a touch, just a little bit. And then open your gas valve up, count to maybe 3 or 4, close it back up again. Throw your thing on there, and then, pull. Now, you might have to open the choke up, like if you've gone and, sorry, buddy passing by. So if you've gone and left the valve open like I did, you might have to open the choke up, because it'll be flooded likely. So open the choke up, pull it a few times to get that choke completely cleared out with the gas off, and then close the choke up a little bit, like I just said, with the gas off still. You may or may not want to open it up for that 3 or 4 second count. That'll kind of depend on your model. So from there, pull it a couple times, open the gas back up for like 3 or 4 more seconds, and pull it a couple more times, and it should start. Basically, you want the least amount of fuel you can possibly get away with using in it, and then it'll start in pretty cold weather. But it's definitely not going to start if you follow the instruction book. And the choke on it, like, it's a pretty simple choke setup, but I don't know if it's mal-designed, but I have not been able to start it with it fully closed once at all. So it usually has to be at least open a little bit. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't want to lose another video here, because my battery is shit. So should you buy one of these? Well, if you're mechanically inclined, I wouldn't be too worried. Just don't lose your receipt. And try and break it in within the first few days, so that way if you have to bring it back, it's, fresh. If you're not mechanically inclined and you're going to be spending any amount of time relying on it, that's a little iffy. If you tend to be in colder weather, then I would probably have to go with no, don't buy it. If you're in moderate weather, like maybe the coast or something like that, then you might still be okay to get away with it. And of course, if you plumb in an ether line, it'll start one way or the other all the time. So overall, I don't know, as a product, I don't know generators too well, but as a product, I would say this is probably in the 6 or 7 range overall. 6 or 7 stars out of 10 being best, I guess. Anyway, somewhere in there. I'm not exactly a great reviewer or anything, but yeah, I would use caution when buying it. Definitely don't lose your receipt. If possible, buy it on a credit card that has insurance or something like that. Make sure you test it out thoroughly before you accept that it runs properly. Alright, so I'll try and start the generator as per the instructions in the manual. And the instruction in the manual is to turn the choke to on and turn the gas to on, turn the button on and pull start. So we'll see if that works. I gave it a few minutes for the gas to settle because I had left it on. So choke is on, gas is on, generator's on. I'm amazed that started like that quick, but normally that just simply is not going to happen. However, it's above 0 right now, so you know, normally in the winter. Anyways, there you go. That's the generator starting. It did sit overnight, so I'm surprised. That's the first time it started off one pull ever. And we've hit 10 degrees here, and I've still had to you know, mess around with it. So there you go. I'm just going to add this on to the end of that video without much editing, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments or need any specs or anything, then let me know. I'll measure it all out, not a problem. One thing I didn't mention is the bars, like the frame. Actually, I would give this a 9. This is really solid tubing. I was expecting that to be one of the places where they cheaped out on this one, because this is the cheapest generator besides the Furman units, which are a completely different thing. But I think, anyways, so the tubing setup on this, the frame in general, is really strong. And the reason I know that is because when I was bending some of the metal, I had to actually bend it with it on the frame, because you got to get the clip on and then bend it together and weld it. And so I did pinch it a couple times, but the pinch didn't do anything to the tubing. So just a note, if you require something that's durable, this actually does kind of, for the tubing, the frame, meet that bill. There you go. All right, I'll talk to you later.